I'd like to share with you a wonderful real case of the implementation of GTD, which has, I think, some relevance for those of you interested in more stress-free productivity. I had the good fortune a while ago to work with a senior executive who, by anyone's standards, could be considered one of the world's most productive people. He's known in lofty global corporate circles as a guy who gets things done, in particular resolving volatile situations and closing complex, challenging, and highly rewarding deals. On meeting him at his office, my first impression was that, we might not have much to do in the way of workflow improvements, because there was virtually no evidence of unprocessed stuff, around anywhere. Emails were less than a handful. Voicemail was emptied daily. And no loose papers cluttered the desk. A meticulous note taker, he managed and maintained a rigorous journal of key thoughts and conversations, which was totally up to date, with no unprocessed notes, lurking in previous pages. He was a model of what I call executive Teflon. Nothing was hung up around him. He made quick decisions and dispatched initiatives, projects, and tasks for implementation with the leanest of a support staff. Here was a master at professional self-management. His presenting issue, though, was not unique among high performers, except in its intensity. How, amidst a nonstop stream of mission-critical affairs he must attend to, 24/7, could he be sure that his focus was always on the right things, in the right way, at the right time, and still be able to have a life to boot? He wanted my perspectives, but not because he was unproductive. Stretched to the max, he wanted to know if he was truly doing the best he could, and he wanted someone else's, informed eyes on his process. I was curious to find out what would happen as we work together. The value and results that occur are always unique to the person. I knew almost from the beginning that he would find our methods of virtual action reminder lists more efficient than his linear chronological tracking and bringing things forward. And I figured that a thorough review of his professional areas of responsibility and strategic plans against his projects list would be healthy. For whom wouldn't that be? But would that be worth the relatively big chunk of his extremely valuable time he was investing with me? Suffice it to say that after 3 hours of capturing his still uncollected open loops, a day of organizing projects and actions into lists in a loose leaf binder that we created, and some hard-nosed self-reflection at the higher horizons of his commitments, he was delighted with the results. On following up with him some weeks later, I found his comments and feedback instructive and inspiring. He said his efficiency had improved because his flow of ideas were channeled, much more directly into the appropriate parking places, almost as soon as he had them, with much less need to look back or rethink things. His peace of mind had also increased, knowing that absolutely everything had been captured along the way. He thought he was good before, but now he had a new reference point. He was most struck with the correlation between the clarity of mind this new system afforded him and two phenomenally valuable big ideas he had since its implementation, which allowed him to solve a major dilemma and graduate significantly in his executive function. Our bottom-up approach to, capturing and defining his work had facilitated a real advance in his own high-level strategic thinking. Though we didn't do any, quote, high-level strategic thinking as such in our work together. His biggest concern was the challenge to stick with the 100% capture behavior, primarily because the process of getting things out of his head and reviewing all of his work, from this more objective perspective, kept catalyzing even more voluminous streams of valuable thinking. Why share with you these details about this poster child for installing the getting things done best practice? I've written and spoken before about the paradox we encounter all the time. Those who take to our work, the most, are the ones who need it the least. But there was something special about this instance of that principle. I don't think I've ever seen so many of the key aspects of our workflow best practices understood, tested, implemented, and put onto cruise control so rapidly, with a corresponding validation of the results in marked increases in stress-free productivity. And so many people who don't feel they're quite there yet are looking for the next cool piece of gear, the next complex key and formula, the next gee whiz kind of technique that they haven't tried yet to keep them on track. If it's new and looks hard, it's probably what I haven't done yet and what I need to do. I'd probably have a more successful business model myself if I kept producing some new version of GTD. But that's not the answer to stress-free productivity. As proven by my elegant client, the power is in the basics, completely and consistently applied. He demonstrated, indeed, the magic in the mundane, the sophistication in the simplicity, and the profundity in the practical. I must admit, I've had weird moments when I question my own stuff. Is it just too simple? Is it necessary? Do people avoid implementing these behaviors as much as they do because there really is some better way to get things done? Then I get a chance at auspicious moments to taste it fresh again through the lens of the best and brightest in the crucible of knowledge work at its most intense. I've been again and again assured how well it works, how simple it remains, and humbled I am again by those high-performing individuals I meet who jump in and really get getting things done.